Hey, homeschoolers. September and all of its new school year excitement is behind us, leaving us to face a longer October. If you struggle to complete your plan or to get your kids to complete the plan, you may be feeling a bit concerned. How will this month be better? Should you rely on push motivation? Do you need a new system? These are both issues I've discussed in recent episodes. Today, though, I want to help you determine if you truly have a motivation problem. If not, the solution may be much, much simpler to implement. Before we dig in, I want to thank our sponsor, CTC Math. If you didn't get things done in your homeschool this month the way you hoped and planned, one of the first culprits to suspect is motivation. You're just not motivated, or your kids aren't. You don't wake up passionate to learn and create and clean. You're not brimming with energy and enthusiasm, and you can't blame it on seasonal affective disorder. And after you carefully chose curriculum and activities and a schedule, that's just not acceptable. So, you think you have a character problem. You need to study diligence in the Bible with the kids and memorize scripture. And you need to actually read one of the many books you've purchased for yourself about self-discipline. You may also suspect you chose the wrong activities or classes. They seemed great and the reviews were glowing, but they may not be a good fit for you and the kids after all. You're going to have to go back to the drawing board and find new ones that will keep the motivation flying high beyond September at the least. You probably also need to rework your schedule. You may need to start earlier since things tend to fall apart after lunch. Or you need to start with your least favorite subject. Or try loop scheduling. Maybe you should start school in the afternoon. Or maybe you need to toss the curriculum and schedule and try unschooling or Charlotte Mason or unit studies. You'll want to watch some more YouTube videos on that to be sure. It could also be that you or the kids have an undiagnosed condition or learning challenge that is the real culprit. You should have them take an online diagnostic quiz and talk to friends whose kids have learning issues so you aren't missing anything. Maybe it's ADD and you're going to have to change everything about your homeschool to accommodate it. I'm not homeschooling right now, but I still went through this process. I am working on a reference book to go with Grammar Galaxy. Or should I say, I wasn't working on it. Obviously, a motivation problem. I needed to listen to one of my books on self-discipline and meditate on related Bible verses. But I also wondered if the book was the wrong project for me to work on right now. If it was the right one, I would be looking forward to it, wouldn't I? I needed to look again at all the projects I could be working on and rate them all. I should ask my writer friends what they think. Then again, maybe I wasn't working on the reference book because I had it in my morning schedule when I'm working on level 2 of training aliens. Perhaps I would get it done if I moved it to afternoon or evening. I could also just wait until I felt inspired and passionate to work on it. Maybe the problem was that I was trying to force it. If I was inspired, I could get the project done quickly. I should wait for pull motivation, like Mark Forster describes. Then again, I am perimenopausal. Yes, still at my age. And that is killing my motivation. Maybe it's impossible to do this project until my hormones are in balance. This is my real thought process. I am not trying to bore you to death, promise. I am trying to show you how focusing on motivation can lead us down many dead end trails that don't result in homeschool progress. I am not saying that you don't need to focus on any of these motivational issues. Perhaps you do. But before you do, allow me to share an alternative to motivation for your consideration. I began planning the final quarter of the year, something you might want to do as well. You have 3 months to achieve your homeschool goals, and that can give you a fresh start, even though you're already a month or two into a new school year. As I planned, I decided that I really did want to complete this reference book this quarter. Every quarterly planner will take a goal like that and ask you to break it down into smaller goals with deadlines. I had no idea what those smaller deadline goals should be. I had to evaluate the project and get a rough estimate of what I had completed in the hours worked. I hadn't worked many hours on it, and the reference book is already organized into entries. I determined that I was completing 10 entries per hour. That allowed me to estimate the number of days I would need to complete the entries. But that was based on a schedule with no missed days. I decided to add 20% more days than I needed to the deadline to account for the unexpected. I had to plan more than this to finish the project, but I came up with several intermediate milestones until the end of the quarter. The day after creating the plan, I worked on the project in the morning as before. I wasn't super inspired by the project. It is a reference book after all, and not story-based like my curriculum. And my hormones have been as wonky as ever. But I accomplished 3 days' work in one day. Now I should get the project done ahead of schedule, barring any major interruptions. How did that happen? Well, I did not have motivation. I did achieve clarity. Unbeknownst to me, the project felt like a huge amorphous blob that would never be done. Anything I did accomplish felt like a drop in the bucket. When I thought about the project or even sat down to work on it, I wasn't sure what I was supposed to do in that work session. When you or your kids lack clarity, you are likely to respond in the same way. If your child doesn't know what done looks like or what a good school day looks like, they are unlikely to make progress. Imagine playing a video game that has no finish line and no indication of progress. Most people would quit playing that game very quickly. That's why I had quit working on my project. I was spinning my wheels. I didn't know when I would be done or how much, if any, progress I'd made. Although you may have a motivation problem, I would argue that it isn't fair to determine that until you've produced clarity. Do you know exactly what you have to accomplish today or this week in order to be on track? In order to finish your curriculum and activities by the end of the semester, do you know what you need to do? If not, that's the first step. Determine the number of school days you have this semester to achieve a particular goal. I recommend that you use 80% of this number to allow for unforeseen circumstances. Then, divide the number of lessons or pages or minutes for the goal by that 80% number. To use a very clean example, say you have 100 potential school days left this semester. Using 80% of that means 80 days. If you have 80 pages of history to read together, that is 1 page to read per school day. Easy peasy. In fact, you'll be done ahead of time if you happen to have an uneventful semester. But let's say it's not easy peasy. Perhaps you have a very ambitious goal. When you do the math, you realize that your student has to read 100 pages of literature per day to get through all the books you've assigned. While you now have clarity about what has to be done, you don't have confidence. Your student will likely feel overwhelmed. If I had struggled to complete 10 entries an hour, I likely would have given up on my goal. The answer is to adjust the goal so it feels achievable. Adjusting can be disappointing. If I had to admit to myself that I couldn't complete the project this semester, I wouldn't like it. But I would get it done faster by moving my goal back 3 months than I would by expecting too much of myself. Do you really have a motivation problem? If you're unhappy with your progress, don't automatically assign your kids and yourself diligence memory work. Don't immediately research new curriculum, homeschool approaches, or WebMD. Instead, get clarity about what you want to accomplish this semester. Make sure you and your kids know exactly what they need to do to achieve the goal and that you both feel confident you can do it. If you use this approach, please screenshot this episode and tag me or email me at melanie@homeschoolsanity.com. I would love to hear about it. Thanks again to CTC Math for sponsoring this podcast. To read the transcript, visit the show notes page at homeschoolsanity.com/motivation problem. Have a happy homeschool week.